And I feel like this is the part of motherhood that people don't talk about. Oh, that's what we're doing? Okay, we're gonna have to wash all of those. Right now you're probably hearing Miss Rachel in the background, and homegirl is actually eating in her high chair and a little preoccupied, so I have a little bit of time. I was kind of debating, I don't even know if I'm gonna put this up, to be honest with you, because I feel like this is a little too raw. Then I was also thinking maybe there's somebody else who's also going through this as well. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I should make videos like these, like talking about my experience. Coming!
Mommy.
Yeah? That's supposed to go on your head.
I could come on here and be fake and say everything is great and I'm feeling good and make a cute little family vlog, but the reality is I was feeling very vulnerable and emotional to the point where I couldn't really speak on how I felt. I feel like motherhood is such a sensitive topic. People are very critical of moms because God forbid we feel anything other than joy than being a mom. And the reality is that I was feeling so emotional, but I had to put my feelings aside because at the end of the day, being a mom comes first, and I just wanted to spend the day with her, and I didn't want her to really feel or absorb my feelings of loneliness.
You caught me, mama. Look at you. Inchi, hebu jiangalie mama, umependeza. Aya, twende nje. Okota, ndio okota, twende nje. I wanted to change up the scenery today because I thought that being outdoors would maybe help me think better, feel better. Yesterday was really hard for me to put my thoughts into words because when I'm super emotional, sometimes it's really hard for me to communicate and express how I feel in a way that's clear and concise because it's just such an emotional topic for me. Motherhood in general. I've talked about how postpartum was really hard for me after giving birth, and it's something that I'm still dealing with, and I am not depressed anymore. Thank God. I feel like at the beginning of this year, I have felt so much better. I feel like a better version of myself, to be honest with you. And I knew this would happen. I knew I would come out the other side. It's just really hard when you're going through things. But one thing that's really stuck with me is the feeling of feeling lonely in this journey of motherhood that I am on. And, you know, Dan is a very supportive partner. He's a very supportive husband. He's an amazing dad. But there's just something different about being a mom, and that's not something he can completely understand, but the only thing he can do is empathize and be as understanding as he can be. I think when people talk about being a mom, some people are not very honest, and it's hard to be honest when women are constantly, number one, being criticized. But if you complain or voice certain issues or problems that you're having when you're being a mom, it's like, why are you complaining about a choice that you actively made? Or why, are you complaining like motherhood is such a blessing, it's a great thing, you should be grateful? And don't get me wrong, I am absolutely grateful for my little girl. I would do it again and again and again just to have her. And at the same time, there are parts of it that are really, really hard. Yesterday, I was feeling so lonely. And I think that has to do with the fact that I'm always home, right? I am either working from home, content creating, or I am home with my child as a mother and a caretaker and just doing things that need to be done inside the house. And I feel like I'm at a point where I am able to balance things out a little bit more. Now that I have more clarity and I'm out of my depression, something that really stuck with me is that I did not have people there for me. And it was very lonely. And by that, I mean like people that I considered friends. When you are a mom, everything changes. Like your friendships changes, your relationship with family changes, and you just are able to see clearly like who's really there for you. Of course, everyone's excited about the baby and they just want to talk to you about your baby and all these things, but people don't really check in to see how like I'm doing, how I'm holding up. And sometimes that's really hard because I matter too. You know, I'm still a human, I'm still a person, and it just feels like I kind of no longer matter. And I feel like for some people in my life when it comes to certain friendships, like I'm great to have around when you need to be picked up emotionally, mentally, heck, even maybe physically, you know? You're great for moral support, but where are they when you need them? Yesterday, I spent the whole day not reaching out to anybody, and I just kind of wanted to see, like, if I don't instigate a conversation, who is going to text me? Who is going to call me? And I think only one person did. To be fair, everybody's got their shit. Everybody has a life that they're living. Everybody has work. Everybody has problems. Everybody has things that they're just doing. I know for me, there are a couple moments in my day that I make a mental note like, hey, just to make sure to reach out to so-and-so because it seems like they were going through a hard time, or just to check up on friends, you know? I make it a conscious effort. I also think it's because I feel like I'm the type of person who looks like I have my shit together, and I don't outwardly show my emotions sometimes. When things are bad, I can get pretty stoic, and I'm very much the kind of person who just like when things get rough, I buckle down, I isolate, and I just try and work through it. And people don't see the emotional side to me. The person that I've cried to the most is Dan. He's seen me super emotional, and even then sometimes I feel a little apprehensive because it's really hard to be vulnerable sometimes. It just is. I've grown up like that my entire life, where I've had to stuff my emotions and how I feel because it was the safest option, and it was me being in survival mode. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional. In the middle of my suburban park. Jesus. It's really hard when it seems like no one cares. And I know that's not the truth. When you're the one constantly making the effort to reach out and talk to people, it just gets pretty lonely. And I feel like this is the part of motherhood that people don't talk about. And the crazy thing is, I think people do care. It's just that they don't realize, hey, like sometimes your mom friends need a little bit more love. You know, just a text, a 30-second phone call to say, hey, how are you? Like, how are things? How are you genuinely doing? What are you up to? It just sucks sometimes, but sometimes that is just life. There are a lot of bugs, and I have a brown spot on my butt because this bench had mud on it and I sat on it, and it's too late to turn back now. Sometimes I get apprehensive talking about certain parts of motherhood because, again, people can be so critical and don't have the common sense to realize 3-4 things can be true all at once. Like, motherhood is a great thing. It's a beautiful gift. And it's also freaking hard. Like, there are just some parts of it that are just so exhausting. I think it's because it's such a specific experience, and you really only know what it feels like when you go through it. Oh, I'm probably gonna cry when I get home.